Thank you so much for joining us today. We're here at CES. My name is Lauren Douglas, and I'm the SVP of Marketing at Channel Factory.
And I'm Deva Bronson, and I'm EVP Global Head of Brand Assurance at Dentsu.
Well, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So first, I'd like to start with just a little bit about you and your role at Dentsu.
Wonderful. So I look after what we call brand assurance.
Okay.
And my remit is global, although part of my team focuses on US only.
Okay.
Brand assurance for us means three things. One is the sort of general brand safety, brand suitability, viewability, all that wonderful stuff that we've been doing, we're rocking and rolling on in the US for several years now. Basically providing thought leadership to the globe around brand safety and so forth. Pillar number two is really around media responsibility as concerns the marketplace and issues of diversity and equity, specifically concerning diverse owners and sort of enabling spend. And making sure that we do so in a respectful way and a way that we sort of honor the voices and elevate the voices that are there instead of just sort of making it transactional. And then number three is media sustainability or sustainability as concerns the media marketplace. So there's a larger sustainability question which has to do with our travel and our paper and our lights and all that stuff, but specifically what can we do with our media campaigns to leave the world, the planet, in a better state than we found it.
Right.
Those are
and
three
so
main tenets.
Is it really about reduction of potential harm? So like, let's say there's a carbon footprint associated with every email or ad impression. And so you sort of look at that and figure how you can run campaigns that are more sustainable.
Yeah, that's the practice that we're building right now. And specifically carbon consumption or reduction thereof is really what the marketplace is coalescing around. There are probably other, options for how we can make our campaigns more sustainable. But that is, what there are several companies that have been founded over the past year that have the promise of reducing carbon footprint of media campaigns. So that is what we're currently as an industry uniting around.
Excellent. Well, tell me a little bit about sort of how you got into media in the first place and how you, got to be where you are right now. What's your background?
So my background is that I fell completely by accident, head over heels into media. I had no idea.
Head over heels in love with it?
Yeah. Well, that came later. That came later. So the college that I went to at the time, the chairwoman of the board of trustees was Shelley Lazarus, who was the CEO of Ogilvy and Mather at the time. So I would see her on campus and she was just a rock star, just so personable and so brilliant and just such a wonderful, charismatic person. And I kind of just said to myself, I want to be her when I grow up. So they were hiring, this is in 1999, and they were hiring droves of kids to work on this new internet thing. Got myself a job,
That's awesome.
And didn't know, honestly, I thought that it was creative or something. Because it was advertising. I had no idea what it was. Once I understood what media was, I fell in love with the anthropological aspect of what we do, which is speaking to the right people at the right time and changing hearts and minds and causing behaviors.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Super interesting.
And have you always been on the agency side?
I did a short stint on the client side, sort of smacked up in the middle of my career. Learned a ton from it. Probably would have stayed on that side, but there were a lot of changes happening in the corporation at the time. So I took the opportunity to exit and come back to the agency side.
Cool. I would love to just get a sense from you on what you're thinking about for the future, what excites you, what potential trends you've seen even at the show, CES, and anything that you're sort of looking forward to for 2023 and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the thing that excites me the most is what really made me fall in love with digital in the first place, as opposed to the other media channels. And that is changes every day. There's something new every day. And that's what keeps me getting up and going to work in the morning. I never have to worry about getting tired of something, because it's going to be different tomorrow. So that's my favorite thing. Some trends, I'll talk about marketplace first, and then I'll talk about some of the innovation that we saw at the show. From a marketplace perspective, I think we are still on the right track around the diversity, equity, and inclusion conversation, specifically as concerns compensation and leveling the playing field for diverse owners and diverse creators and voices.
Yes.
I think there's still a lot of energy there. Had a really inspirational meeting this morning. I think that we're on the right track because we're having the hard conversations, not just around the desire to participate, but around showing up to actually build the infrastructure,
right?
And to build the software and to staff things properly, so that we can really make meaningful change in the marketplace. I think second is the super exciting work that we're doing around sustainability, which I already spoke a lot about, so I won't talk too much about that. But I have definitely an activist background, so it just fits really well with my heart.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
we're really trying to do good.
Yeah.
In terms of innovation, just generally, we were talking before we started recording about some wild AI that is out there, and it just continues to progress. And being a child of the 80s, being a Gen Xer, I came up with movies like Terminator and sort of very scary, what's going to happen when the robots take over. It's really cool though.
It is cool.
A lot of what's out there is really cool. And something that this is a little bit of a tangent, but there is I was just on the floor in the health and wellness area.
Yeah.
There is some innovation around improving lives and mimicking human touch and human experience.
Wow.
And that, especially, as we just went through the pandemic and loneliness and depression and isolation were such issues for so many people, the fact that there is innovation happening around helping people to not feel alone and helping people to feel comforted by technology is amazing. It's just amazing. It's as if we grew a heart over the last couple of years.
It's funny because it's like there's so much good that it can do.
Absolutely.
But then I'm sure from your perspective, you're also thinking there's also a potential downside, and there are questions around ethics and diversity and inclusion, and how do we make sure that we're not inadvertently programming things to leave certain groups out or to make certain assumptions that may not be thoughtful and conscious. So how are you kind of balancing those two sides of the brain?
It will have to be a concerted effort from those of us that are passionate about these areas.
Right.
So part of the talk that I heard this morning around some of the AI that's being displayed is the AI can self-diagnose as being biased in some situations. And we as the users of AI have the opportunity to adjust how the AI performs based on what our objectives are and what our worldview is. So we have to participate.
Sure.
That's the thing. It's not just sort of sit back and let the AI go and whatever comes out is what we're happy with.
Yeah.
We still have to participate and we still have to improve what the product is to get it to a point where it's reflective of reality.
Absolutely. I guess one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, how do we score ourselves from a media industry? We want to make all these changes around sustainability and diversity. How do we tell if we're doing a good job or not?
It's a wonderful question, and I love that you're asking it at the time that you are asking it. It's super important that we, from here on out, start to build our measurement plans and our evaluation plans into the framework of what we're creating. Because we've seen it so many times over the last 25, 30 years when we're talking about digital worlds, we're talking about digital marketplace. We rush to chase the big shiny thing, the cool shiny thing. And we get to the end and there isn't really anything useful, aside from the fact that we have done the shiny thing.
Right.
So, but it's wonderful. So the answer is build our learning agenda into the product. Build our learning agenda into the innovation. In terms of how we are progressing as an industry. From my perspective right now, I think we're doing great. There are so many questions out there about the future of governmental legislation and laws that govern data privacy, laws that govern consumer protection and again, consumer privacy. We don't know how any of that is going to shake out. We don't know if there's going to be in the U.S., if there's going to be federal, if it's still going to be state by state. We have, laws rapidly changing, both domestic and globally. So we don't know how any of that is going to shake out. We don't know how, which directions any of this AI is going to be. Is it going to be sort of more hands-off? Is it going to be more hands-on? So I think that we are asking the right questions. I think that we need to keep participating. We need to keep the passion going.
Absolutely.
In order for us to really build something that is not just completable, if I can make up a word, but it's also measurable and repeatable.
Right.
Right. So that we don't have another, I've been using the example of Second Life.
Yes.
From what was that, 2006,
Yes.
2007? That just, it was big and then it was gone.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
you don't want it to just be a burnout issue.
Yeah.
These are not burnout issues, right? Like the health of our planet is not
Absolutely.
a like one and done.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Diversity inclusion, not a one and done. So absolutely.
Yeah. And diversity, you bring that up. That's an amazing example of what we're just talking about. I've been in the industry now for almost 25 years, and the diversity question and the client's diversity budgets question it's come and gone every 5 years or so.
Totally.
But what I've been saying for the past 3 years is it feels different this time.
Okay.
It feels different.
That's great.
There are so many of us participating, and there's so much passion behind. We just really have to get this right.
Yeah.
And we have to do it now, because the more we wait, the more time we're wasting.
It sounds like you're pretty hopeful and optimistic for the future, and I think that's really something that like people can feel good about.
Yeah. I am. I mean, part of it is that I'm kind of a shiny, happy person. I always have been.
Yeah.
But I think from the tea leaves that we're all reading now,
Great.
I think we're headed in the right direction on a lot of fronts.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool. What was the last article that you sent someone?
It was probably something heavily political.
Okay.
Because of the direction that I lean.
Right.
Let's see. So I'm not going to talk about that one, but the one before that was probably, this is sort of regardless of what anybody's political position is, but the way that some of the Dems on the floor were trolling the Republicans by bringing popcorn to the votes, so they could eat popcorn while they were watching everything happen. That was just. Whatever side you're on, that was
theater.
Was good.
It's theater.
That was good theater.
Yeah, they're really actors, and that's their stage.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful.
Love it.
Is there anything else that I should ask you about, or that you'd like to talk about?
When we're talking about brand safety, suitability, viewability, fraud protection, what's important for us to take notice of is the fact that, yes, we've been having the conversation for many years now, but it's been a very U.S. and very North American centric conversation.
Definitely, yes.
There's a lot that we still have to do collectively.
I know.
Our partnership with Channel Factory has been instrumental in bringing a lot of our global clients campaigns, a lot of insights, helping us to understand where we can behave. So it's important that we continue to be thought leaders in these spaces.
And especially globally, as you mentioned.
Exactly. Because
I was thinking
too often we rest on our laurels.
We totally do. And we are just US centric because that's the nature of like we're the largest market in the world. But I mean, we've got people on our team calling us all the time and saying, okay, well, what does it mean to be conscious and inclusive when you run in Saudi Arabia? What does it mean to be conscious and inclusive in Singapore?
And being sensitive to the cultural climate is super important.
Totally. Absolutely. Cool. This has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining us here at CES. And thanks to all of you. Please like and subscribe for more.